David's life was marked by great devotion to God, yet his role as a father was fraught with complexities and challenges. His family relationships were deeply affected by the consequences of his sin with Bathsheba, as God had warned that turmoil would arise within his own household. This turmoil became evident in his interactions with his children, especially his sons Amnon and Absalom. David's eldest son, Amnon, developed an improper attraction toward his half-sister, Tamar, who was Absalom's full sister. Overcome by his desires, Amnon deceived Tamar and brought her to his quarters under false pretenses, where he committed a grievous wrong against her. The incident brought great shame and heartbreak to Tamar. When David heard what had happened, he was deeply angered, yet he did not take firm action against Amnon. This inaction weighed heavily on Absalom, stirring within him a strong desire to seek justice for his sister. Absalom's anger grew into a deadly resentment, and after 2 years of waiting, he took matters into his own hands. He invited all of David's sons to a feast, and, during the celebration, had his men kill Amnon. This act of vengeance drove a wedge between Absalom and his father, forcing Absalom to flee from Jerusalem. For 3 years, Absalom lived in exile, estranged from David and the family. Despite his actions, David longed for reconciliation with Absalom and eventually allowed him to return to Jerusalem. However, the relationship remained strained, and David did not immediately restore him to full favor. Feeling rejected and embittered, Absalom began to undermine his father's authority. Using his charm and good looks, he gained the favor of the people by standing at the city gates and listening to their grievances. Absalom presented himself as a better judge and leader than David, slowly building a following. His ambition ultimately led him to declare himself king in Hebron, rallying a significant number of Israelites to his cause. When David learned of Absalom's rebellion, he was heartbroken, but realized the threat was too great to ignore. He and his loyal followers fled Jerusalem to avoid bloodshed, leaving the city they had worked so hard to build. In the ensuing conflict, David's army clashed with Absalom's forces. Despite Absalom's betrayal, David ordered his generals to deal gently with him, unwilling to see harm come to his son. During the battle, Absalom's mule ran under a tree, and his long hair became tangled in the branches, leaving him hanging helplessly. One of David's commanders, Joab, found Absalom and disregarded David's orders, killing him to end the rebellion. When David heard of Absalom's death, he was inconsolable, crying out, "O my son Absalom, my son Absalom, would I had died instead of you, O Absalom, my son, my son." David's grief was profound as he mourned both the loss of his son and the brokenness within his family. This tragedy marked one of the darkest chapters of David's life, underscoring the painful consequences of unresolved conflicts and unchecked sin within his household. David's relationship with his children reveals both the complexities of fatherhood and the weight of personal responsibility. Despite his devotion to God, David's struggles with family dynamics and discipline had lasting repercussions. Application: the importance of parental guidance. David's failure to discipline Amnon led to greater tragedy within his family. This teaches us that addressing wrongdoing with love and discipline is essential in guiding children and preventing future harm. Unresolved anger leads to bitterness. Absalom's bitterness toward David grew from his sense of injustice. When grievances aren't addressed, they can fester into resentment and lead to destructive actions. Addressing conflicts early on can help prevent division. The cost of revenge. Absalom's desire for revenge only escalated the family's turmoil. Taking justice into our own hands can lead to more harm than healing. Trusting God to bring justice brings true peace. Forgiveness and reconciliation. David's love for Absalom showed his willingness to forgive, even after betrayal. True reconciliation requires both repentance and forgiveness. Seeking peace in strained relationships can bring healing, even if it's difficult. The pain of parental regret. David's grief over Absalom reflects the sorrow that can come from missed opportunities to build strong relationships. Investing time and love in family relationships can help prevent future regret and bring lasting joy.